after all the discussions? Or is there not a walkabout? I'm just wondering.
There is a walkabout. We'll be doing it when we get to the budget.
Oh, okay.
And I'll be bringing people with us.
Okay.
We should just finish.
You ready to go? We are ready to go.
I think provided for these lights.
All right, we'll call this meeting to order at, I have approximately 5:31. We'll open it up to public comment. Is there any public comment? No public comment. We'll move forward to agenda 3A, Newsela.
We'll hand this over to Jason Bull. You guys had some questions. Wanted to have our librarians here to answer some of those questions that you gave forward. So I'll leave that to you guys.
Sounds good, thank you. I always want to start with gratitude, so thanks for your continued support of learning and teaching. Much appreciated. I also want to thank Jackie and Jamie. They have really taken on the work to answer your questions. Are excited to be here and answer, kind of walk us through those questions, but also answer anything else. And I just want to pause to give them an opportunity to introduce themselves.
I'm Jamie Klubertons. I'm the librarian here at the high school, and I've been here for quite a while now. And a graduate from Watertown High School. So, yeah. I'm Jackie Ledoux. I'm the library media specialist at Riverside Middle School.
Thank you. And so just to reground us, in October, we brought Newsela forward to the fiscal committee because the total combined between RMS and the high school was, I believe, 25,000. And so that kind of brought us here first. And the team, as Dr. Burke mentioned, had some questions. So we're back here to answer those questions and make sure the team is comfortable. We'll certainly speak to these pieces, but I think it's important for me to note a couple things. And the things that I wrote down is that Newsela is not a curriculum. It's a supplemental resource. Okay, so Newsela is only being used at the middle and high school, hence these two professionals are here, and that Newsela is being proposed through funds from common school funds. And in October, we had a chart about common school funds. And then in our document, supporting document this month, we also have some information about common school funds, but that's the funding stream for Newsela. I will cover kind of our why, what, how. That it's a little bit different from last time, very much of the same. And then Jackie and Jamie will cover some of those questions that we had. And then we'll end with any discussions or questions that the team might have. Our goal today is really, our contract expired at the end of October, but Jamie and Jackie worked with our representative to extend it. And so we're looking for ultimately some discussion or bring this forward to the board so we can move forward. And we want to keep our rep in. So there is some timeliness to this. And so that's our goal tonight. Okay. And so Dr. Burke is the why, what, how. Certainly we'll never read things to you, but I think some key things that I've underlined, I will highlight, and then I'll turn it over to Jackie and Jamie. We always want to start with our why. And so when we think about Newsela's why, it's really a couple things that I've highlighted here is that it's standards aligned, right? We will always want our pieces, whether they're curriculum or supplemental resources, to be aligned to standards. It is a literacy support. We know how important our literacy is at all grade levels, and it's part of our strategic plan. And that it's really three parts. It allows our teachers to differentiate at their instruction, fosters critical thinking, and it strengthens comprehension. So that's the why. That's the grounding of Newsela. The what is, it's really authentic articles, really adapts to Lexile levels for our learners. And it's being used across curricular areas in a way that supports learning of that content. So that's how it's being, or what, the what. And the how is really, there's three pieces here. One is certainly the implementation. It's single sign-on, so it's really easy for folks to access. The instructional impact, again, a couple things that I've mentioned, but it's level, It's really authentic and meaningful text, and it builds on background knowledge that our students have. And then we always want to think about how do we use the data. So Newsela does provide data for the adult, but also student about their growth. So that's our why, what, how, and then I'll turn it over to Jackie and Jamie. And I believe this chart really reflects the questions that we ended with in October. So it's our work around those questions that this team brought forward.
Thank you. Yep. So we'll just kind of walk you through the question list, and we've gathered the detailed information in the document. And like he said, we won't read through that, but we can answer questions as well. So the educational value that Newsela brings to our students and staff, it's really an instructional resource where staff can go and find articles and reading material that connect to what they're doing in the classroom. And I would say what sets it apart is with the click of a button in the Newsela platform, it will tier it to different reading levels. So teachers don't have to do that work on their own. Also, with the click of a button, you can have the articles translated into Spanish. So that helps with some of our multilingual learners. And I put some examples of how we use it in the box there. One funny thing that came up as we were looking at the data from Newsela is one of the articles that was had high usage was, why do dogs wag their tails? And we're like, oh, that's interesting. But what we're seeing from Newsela is it does provide access to some articles that are interesting and engaging for our students. And we know that when they're engaged in what they're reading and learning, it increases in achievement. So Newsela is kind of able to provide that for us. It also fits with our strategic plan priority for inspiring academic excellence and student growth. So it's a good fit for us in that way, and it does those things that no other resource we have does for us.
Jamie also mentioned that the articles can all be translated into Spanish, but actually something that's unique about Newsela is they aren't just translated, they actually are written in native Spanish. So there is a difference between just having an article translated to Spanish versus it actually being written by a native Spanish speaker. So that is something that is very unique to Newsela as well. So as we can continue down the document, I'm not going to read through the statistics because you can see them there. And as we said earlier, this is a resource that not every teacher uses, but it is valuable to them to use. We were asked about Newsela and their anti-bias measures. So I just want to highlight in that particular section that this is information directly from Newsela. As we continue down, we provided some examples of articles that have been most recently used by our students. So you can see that some of them are about current events, and then others are just articles that are for fun. And then as we get to the bottom of the document, common school funds. Those are funds that are provided by the state to fund school libraries in our state, and it's usually the primary source of funding for the libraries. Here in Watertown, our elementary libraries have a pretty much a non-existent budget. It all has to come from common school funds. And with that, there are certain requirements that we have to, and guidelines we have to follow with that spending. So how did Newsela come about? In November of 2023, and this is actually my 6th year in the library. I taught at the high school before going over to Riverside. But in 2023, there was a large increase in common school funds that were distributed to schools. And it is expected that we spend all of those dollars within that school year. They do not want us to roll money over from one year to the next. It is supposed to be spent, and it's supposed to be spent on library programming. We cannot use common school funds to purchase curricular or classroom materials. That's against their rules. And so with that increase in funding, we had the ability to be able to look at other resources that we could provide for teachers, but to be able to use common school funding to fund that purchase. And so because of the increase in funding, that allowed us to even consider a program like Newsella that, as you guys know, and why we're here, has a heftier price tag to it. And so along with that spending, if you look at the bottom, the spending on this particular program ties into our Future Ready plan that we came to the board with last year, because we are looking to create a robust collection, not just in print, but in digital resources as well. And that Newsella fits that need. So questions that you guys have for us regarding Newsella or its use?
I just also want to make sure I say that when Ms. Ledoux here is talking about they and theirs, she's talking about DPI requirements over school funds, not our business office. So
Mhm.
And it's actually in state statute too, I think. Like the rules are very strict.
yes,
And it's all
Yeah,
done by the
it's all-
treasurer.
Yeah,
state
it's
treasurer.
really amazing. Like
Yeah.
people from other states are like, wow, you guys are so lucky that your libraries have this money. And we are.
Yep.
We are very blessed.
Yeah.
The new treasurer that came in.
So we've had this, for the last 2 or 3 years, I understand. And in 2023 and in 2024, it was purchased with, on $10. Why the departure from that? I guess that's the confusion. Like how we're moving toward common.
yeah, you guys know we're doing everything we can to shift and or eliminate things out of the budget where we can. This was a purchase that we could easily move over to common school fund, still fit the parameters, fit our Future Ready plan, fit what they wanted to do. And it was something that we could save on the funded budget, is my understanding of the why.
Go ahead, Julian.
Well, I'm gonna dive in here. I was the culprit last time, but I am not opposed to resources to increase literacy. So please don't misunderstand me on that. I think we have issues with it, and I think that resources that we can get, especially using common school funds, which I think is a really good purpose for that, is to add resources for that. But I will tell you, I have concerns about Newsella. I have concerns. I read through the section that you wrote or that you copied from Newsella on the bias. I think they're very generous to themselves because it is not without controversy.
Yeah, I could chime in there. I did quite a bit of research on this, and Newsella is a founder operator, one-man show. Dave Van Zandt, he's a sole proprietor. No staff is listed. He reads sample articles, checks facts, history, looks at ownership, and assigns bias and factual ratings himself. The criticisms are lack of transparency, no public data set, personal bias, Van Zandt's own politics. He describes himself as center-left. It shows up in the ratings, and right-leaning sites are far more likely to be labeled questionable or conspiracy than any other sites. He's inconsistent. He rated Breitbart right, but also questionable while rarely giving left-leaning sites the same low factual score, even when they have significant errors. So this has been rated by parents and teachers as my notes. They frequently call it extremely left-leaning and not truly independent, just one man's opinion. So that was very concerning for, you're teaching critical thinking, but you're taking one man's opinion and saying, just believe this man, right? So I'm very concerned that we have this one source for news that is, we're taking in this man is saying, oh, this is factual and this is not. Who are you to say? So that's very concerning.
So I'm not sure, like nothing that's in Newsella is written by one person. So it's like a database where they're collecting articles from a host of sources. I do have the full list that they pull from.
Right. It's not written by one person. but there's sources like Washington Post, AP, NPR, things like that. He's vetting those sources and then basically rewriting the articles so that they're to grade level, right? And then giving his opinion on their reliability is what I researched, what I saw.
Well, I would agree with Jamie, right?
Mhm.
I would agree. I don't think he specifically is, but he's probably using AI, he's probably using other
Well,
people
yes.
to do that.
Yeah. But he's using his judgment.
There were just things that popped up when I was doing my initial research on this, and I'm gonna throw out a name, and Southern Poverty Law Center showed up as being a positive on them. Southern Poverty Law Center goes actively after conservative organizations. They're very aggressive about that. So look, as a number one, a lover of libraries, a lover of students and teachers and the whole learning process, I love what this does, the concept of it. You know, the translation into what you call native Spanish at the touch of a button, and the fact that it puts it into a grade level, you know, specific grade reading level. I looked at a couple of them that they had done, and quite frankly, I was like, this one dealt with the First Amendment. What they had done to make it appropriate for the reading level changed the meaning of the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. Now, I'm not worried about articles about why dogs wag their tail, you know, and I realize there probably a host of our students who are not looking at news articles, especially at, you know, maybe junior high, that I would even have a question about. But the further we get up the academic ladder, and the more aggressive their assignments are, and the more aggressive that we are in trying to help them become better readers and critical thinkers, the more likely they are to come into contact with some of this. And I wish, and I don't know, and I'm just going to tell you, I don't know that I can suggest an alternative. I wish there was a wonderful, wonderful alternative out there, because I know schools all over the country are using this. But I know more, and I know that over the last few years, a number of schools have pulled back from it because they saw what we saw. Yeah. So I think that those are things we have to consider, even if the money's coming from kind of extra budget. May I use that term? Because it's not within the actual budget, it's within the common school funds that we get. I don't know how much money do we get through that every year? Does anybody know?
It's about 265,000.
Wow. Very generous amount for our library.
Absolutely.
So I appreciate the fact that this is scheduled to be paid from those funds. I struggle with its appropriateness for our students.
Yeah, and I appreciate the insights and the questions, right? I think it's important for me to state that Newsella is one of many resources that we provide students, right? And so that's why we bring it here for discussion. So
There are alternatives.
I don't know if there's a piece for alternative Newsella for something, but we have, you know, a plethora of databases or resources for our students that they access.
There are several competing companies. They don't look great for non-bias either, but I haven't researched them thoroughly. Just this one.
And by the way, I'm not looking for something that throws everything conservative. I'm just looking for something that's that is as close to not biased as we can get. That doesn't come at it automatically. I shouldn't say automatically, but more likely than not from a biased perspective.
Right, like ground news.
I'm not.
Two librarians.
Ground news
Have
is
you got a
a
rebuttal to
platform
this?
that takes a topic or article and shows you what news organizations lean left when they talk about it and lean right when they talk about it, and which are the most unbiased of the articles to actually get your information from.
Yeah, I would say that when I don't want to speak for Jackie and Jamie, but as we continue to partner with different vendors, we take time to look at their literature. Their literature talks about their work to be benign but not biased. And so that's the literature that Jackie and Jamie have considered. And that's, again, why we're here discussing it tonight.
The problem, oh, I'm so sorry.
I do think that you also have to consider then where are students turning to get their information. So would you rather them go to Google where there's literally no filter? Because you've talked about students wanting to use their critical lens and make a decision. And maybe you want them exposed to all of what Google offers, but then please know that there is going to be far more bias
So,
when you're searching the whole World Wide Web that students have to sift through.
so we're paying $25,000 to get super biased information.
Well, that
right?
is your opinion that you believe Newsella to be a biased source.
That's my opinion based on the research that I've done.
Correct.
Just my opinion, because last time I've never heard of Newsella.
Mhm.
So
And I would be curious to see what sources you are using to conduct your research as well.
Right, sure.
Mhm.
So for $25,000 a year,
Mhm.
I think we can do better. I think teachers probably would do a better job of vetting and filtering information than this source. I wish there was an easy pull the switch. This is completely unbiased place. Maybe there's an opportunity for a business for somebody there, but I don't see that with this.
I'm just speaking to the, we have to be mindful of the amount of work we continue to put on teachers' plates. And I'm not promoting Newsella or not promoting
Right.
Newsella, but our teachers have a lot going on, and this is a platform. It exists because of that, right? And so providing supplemental materials for our teachers and students to access in a way that's easy, right? There's a database there, and it provides a level of reading. It provides all the things you spoke to. It exists because there is a need, right? And so I just want to be mindful of the work that our teachers are navigating today.
Right. And what did we do before 2023?
Yeah, I can't speak to that.
They probably would have gone out and found an article on their own. This just has it in a place for them that's easily they can differentiate it. But Newsella is pulling from 100 different sources.
Right.
I don't think all of them lean all one way or all the other way. I think most of them are down the center, and that is Newsella's goal. They might have altered their practices a little bit. I don't know when that they started their company, but it has grown and evolved, and they have a big editorial staff now. So I think some of that may have changed through time. But they do try to pick sources that are in the center. And I do have the list of all they pull from here. But teachers are also critically looking at when they're using articles with their students, like they're taking it through some of their own checklists as well, just as they would with any resource that they're using in their classroom.
Well, and I'm glad you brought that up. I think some of our concern is, and I haven't talked to Lori about this, but one of my concerns is in the adaptation to the various reading levels.
Hmm.
I think that's where you get a very real possibility for a personal bias to be inserted, and which does not necessarily say the original source is the problem. It's just, I think, inadequate. But secondly, could you walk us through how a teacher actually uses this to get to assign or whatever?
Sure. So it's a database of articles. They would look for an article that supports what they're doing in their classroom. And then within the Newsella platform, they can change the level. There's like questions that students would have to answer comprehension questions as they go through reading the article. There's writing prompts, and this is all optional. They could just print the article and use it in class. You can annotate within Newsella. You could print it and annotate it. There's different sorts of questions. You can customize all of that. Writing prompts that go with it. So they can either assign an article with however they've customized it through Google Classroom, or they could print it.
Okay. And then I see that they take quizzes online, so that teachers, said that this quiz is a good quiz to go with this article or something.
You can
like
even
this.
make your own questions and put them in.
Look, I'm going to tell you just from an educational and streamlining for what teachers, this is a brilliant concept. It is a brilliant concept, especially being able to at least attempt to change the reading level of the original article. But I've seen too much of how they've done it in important things that leads a student to a conclusion that I think is unfortunate. So it makes me very difficult. It makes it very difficult for me to say, yeah, let's use $25,000 of the common school funds for this. I would love to champion this. I really would. I think it's a bonus for a teacher to be able to do this. The information they end up with, especially through the adaptation to the reading level, is problematic for me. So
Yeah.
I'd be curious now. Dave has experience in this. Do you have any?
I don't know about this thing particularly. I was going to look it up myself, and then I got looking up other stuff. So I understand what both of you are saying, and I especially at the high school level, and what they're going to take from this. And yet, like you said, I only got in here late, so I didn't see the whole thing, hear the whole thing. But it is a great thing to have in your library, and I don't know how many other people out there are doing such a thing. I don't know. My own thoughts about this are, I don't know if we can ever get anything that's not biased one way or another. Probably not going to happen. However, we have enough of that going on, unfortunately, that people will tell you, I don't know where to turn. I don't know who's telling the truth and who isn't telling the truth. Right. And that goes beyond even what you're having. But if you have something in the library that most students will go through and say, well, whatever I'm going to find is probably going to be true. And unfortunately, that's not always the case. I'm not familiar with this enough to even really comment beyond that. You guys did some really good research on that. And what you've said, it does put up a red flag. I think also what you said about maybe it's grown since then, and it has more tentacles to it than it does now. So I'm listening to find out what you're saying. That's my thought.
I do have a comment on, not on this, but on, we got this in 2023 through a use it or lose it spending bucket, right? So we spent more and now it's a subscription. So even though we're running shortfalls, we're going to keep it because now we're used to it. That doesn't make sense to me either. That doesn't make financial sense. We did fine without it before 2023 and suddenly we had to spend some money and we spent it and now we're stuck with this forever. That's not thoughtful spending. So I think that's not responsible to just keep spending like that because it's there and because we're now used to it.
We didn't feel like it was a waste of our funds. We do feel like it's a valuable resource to offer our teachers.
If it was completely unbiased, and no, let me finish. If it was completely unbiased and it was a great resource, as our budget sits right now, I'm not sure I would vote to keep it just because our budget is so short.
But this is common school fund. It's a
Yeah,
district.
I would
This is extra budget.
clarify that though, like what we're seeing, what is trying to be presented is common school funds have a specific purpose. It's extra funding from the state. It's not quite the same as funds coming directly out
So
of.
it doesn't come out of our budget.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
No.
Well,
So it's
I
a
was-
different treat.
I apologize. I
Yeah.
was not understanding.
And I think our staff is doing what they can to try to come up with options
Sure.
to be able to utilize those dollars in a way that makes the most sense.
Sure.
So in that respect, I can appreciate what the staff is doing. But I'm also listening. I'm also paying attention to the conversation.
Go ahead, Jason.
Thank you. I was gonna say the same thing. I do believe that over the last 3-4 years, the common school fund allocations have actually increased versus decreased. I believe that to be
So-
true.
No, go ahead, Jason.
I was also gonna say that, we have practitioners here to answer questions and tell the story. I wonder about, are there any other questions about the use or other things that we could provide the team to make an informed decision?
I just have one question for Jared. Jared, when we get the common school funds, how is that handled in the budget? Is it included in our budget? Is it completely separate?
I mean, it's like we do any grant, you have it in, out,
Yep.
but it's not part of the budget.
Yep,
You-
that's what I thought.
We align it and sign it, but,
Right.
that's it.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else?
I appreciate you ladies coming in. I really do, and explaining it, so.
And I do appreciate your concerns about the leveling. I completely understand that. I will just speak to my students and staff that I've not seen it used in a way that would be harmful in that manner.
And that's good to know. That's good.
Can I ask,
You know, and-
maybe somebody already asked this question. How much use does it get or has it gotten in fact?
There's
Is it on here?
57 teachers in the district using it.
Okay, I missed that.
So the Italy high school. So this is from.
This is just a list.
Looks like it's well used.
Oh, it's just a list of ELA teachers.
No,
Or is it?
I'm assuming history teachers, social study teachers use it.
Yeah, I think there's multiple concepts of leveraging.
I didn't think the numbers were, for 2 years, I didn't think they were eye-popping. And it, so that tells me that perhaps it hasn't caught on as well as, because I don't know how you promote it. I don't know how the teachers are encouraged to use it or however. So I didn't think the numbers were bad. They weren't like,
I think that's, in my opinion, please correct me if I'm wrong, I think that speaks to the robustness that we're trying to create, right? It's like we have options for students and staff.
okay.
And so again, I wonder if there's any other resources or information that our practitioners or myself present, or anything else that we could do to help make an informed decision.
So,
Provide us with alternatives.
well, I can share, just one thing, media bias fact check, by Van Zandt. They rate it as on their rating scale from extreme left, left center, left or least biased, right center, right, and extreme. It has a least biased rating from the factual reporting side that goes from very low, low, mixed, mostly factual, high, and very high factual. They rated this high. And that's, an area that when you're looking at fact checking, you can look at a number of different companies through media bias fact check, see where they land. They're a nonpartisan group that I understand does this. And it's been around since 2015. Just wanted to throw that out there as additional information.
Yeah, I saw that. I also saw the reviews of their judgment and it wasn't comforting.
Okay, I'd like to see the information because I'm just doing a quick search right now.
Sure.
I want to check,
I did
bias
kind of like
checks,
the 10,000
right?
foot view.
I'm trying to get understanding of bias checks.
Right.
And seeing like what third party companies out there. Because I
believe there's 2 other ones. And
if there are,
on initial glance, they didn't stand out as being like stellar, but that's as far as I looked, because we're just looking at Newsla right now, or Newsella.
because I'd like to understand, like, no matter what we bring in front of us, it would be good to have a tool or tools that we can use so that we're not just saying, well, I did some research. Like, what tool are we going to use to determine bias for like research purposes for us as a board?
Yeah, just not just
I
one.
think that we should all be able to do our own research and bring it.
I understand that, but I would also like to understand if there was a tool that we could center on
The problem
that
is,
we could lean into to say, hey,
Yeah.
They've done,
Yeah.
they're reputable, they've done good work, right?
When I,
And
when
so-
I, when I look at tools, I do my own vetting.
Mhm.
And when I look at tools, I tend to cross-reference. And because even if you have this great tool, this great source, every once in a while they'll make a mistake.
Yeah.
Right? And so now you have these other sources and references to
Right.
cross-reference, and that's
What
why
I'm trying to do is I'm trying to bridge the gap between what our board sees and understands and what our professionals who are in the classroom doing their research understand. And it seems like I'm hearing two very different discussion points about whether they think it's biased or unbiased. And if that's the case, how do we bridge that gap? Like, is there a tool we can use? Is there some kind of reporting mechanism? Because otherwise we're just going to keep having people bring things to you and you're going to keep saying, I don't know. Or you're going to say, I wish we would have had this. And they're going to say, well, why that versus this?
So this is really an ed services committee discussion.
It could be, right? But we still have to make a decision around this one. But what I'm saying is, you know, as we move into the future, having something or some things, other tools that we can relate to, that we've all agreed upon, that we think good data comes out of this, will help not only our staff, but also our board get closer to the same page. Because right now it seems like we're not on the same page with this discussion point.
Well, we all know that people are, well, first of all, Dave's right. I mean, you're never going to get value neutral. I don't care how unbiased, it doesn't happen. It's in the real world. I understand what you're saying, Jared, and it's the age-old problem, left, right, conservative, liberal, whatever. Everybody does their own research and comes up with their own experts. And so then it's an expert versus an expert. And I don't know that there's anything out there that, I mean, the board could say, okay, this is it. This is what we're going to use. And if it doesn't measure up, then we don't do it. Now, and I don't know what that source would be. I look at advocacy in media. I look at things like that. That's what I use for different things, but that doesn't mean it's the best one for us to use in it. So I totally understand what you're saying, because otherwise it's just continue to have.
I'm just trying to find a way for us to get to a place where we can have some more common conversations.
No, I agree.
Right. And that's what I'm looking for. You asked for a tool that hits the middle more. Well, by this report, it does hit the middle. Like, and if we don't want that one, we'll throw that out. My question is how do we find out which is the reporting we're going to land on? Or if it's going to be like, just keep bringing us stuff until we approve something, that will be the method that they have. They'll just keep bringing you stuff until you approve it.
Well, let's just be honest that because it's not curriculum, this is a resource. And the only reason this is being discussed is because it crossed a $20,000 threshold. That's the only reason it caught my attention.
Correct.
Because on the fiscal committee, that's what I'm looking for, is to make sure that we know what those expenditures are for. Otherwise, it would have just sailed through here and we would have had no say in it.
Correct. I mean, you're highly right. I mean, there's different levels, and we talked about, do you want to trust that $20,000 level? We can have that conversation again about, do we go to a $5,000 level because
we don't.
you're worried that things are.
That's water over the dam.
I know. But what I'm saying is, you are right. The only reason this is coming before you is because of that. But we are still having the conversation of, we have some professionals here who've done the work. They brought you it, right? You can certainly say no, right? But when you say no, for us in administration to be able to talk with our professionals and say, here's more what they're looking for. Now go forth and conquer. They're going to bring something. I mean, we want to hit our future ready plan, right? Which is increasing our electronic resources. Our teachers depend on these kinds of tools. I'm just saying, like, if I can figure out what kind of guidance to give them to look at, to be more pleasing of the board's response, That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a management tool I can help them with, right? And that's why I'm saying, is there something we can do, something I can help them with? Because when with your no comes out, well, what else then, right? And I'd like to be able to help Jason in that response to them, to say, start looking down these avenues, or use this to check it next time, or whatever.
No,
And that's all I'm coming at.
Can I
think
answer
it's
that?
very reasonable.
Can I answer that? Go forth and conquer. And what you're looking at right now is a very conservative board. Is anybody going to argue that?
Yes.
You're not conservative.
No, I'm conservative,
Okay,
but
very
I'm
good.
gonna argue that, it doesn't matter in this case. What matters is that we're looking at a resource that has pretty extreme bias, right? We're looking for a resource, according to Dr. Burke, that, is somebody has used their critical thinking and used multiple sources and said, okay, these multiple sources across the spectrum pretty much agree that this is a good resource. Okay, you can't go to one source, and always trust that one source because people are fallible, right? You have to look across the spectrum when you're vetting a tool like
Yeah,
this.
if I can shorten your discussion point, because I've heard from multiple board members, if this was something that was equally a news organization, that was pulling stuff, and the bias check wasn't left, but it was far right, they would have equal amount of problem with it, right?
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
they're saying is, we
very
don't
true.
feel like it's giving us middle. Right, and that's what they're aiming for, is middle, right? So that's why even if we're a conservative board, right, then that's not the point. The point isn't the politics. The point is, left or right, we're trying to aim for the middle, and that's why I said, well, this bias checks. I mean, it's almost it's as close to middle as you can probably get from this source. Right.
Yes.
And Lori, I'd love to hear, other, and I need to maybe dig into it more again. I did that in, 5 minutes here, saying, okay, what is the media bias check on this? And I went to, a couple of known ones out there, and I just thought, okay, this is what I'm seeing. Right.
So
The other ones didn't rate
what
this,
I've been
but this one
seeing,
did.
what I've been seeing is if an organization comes up with we're the media bias check, we're PolitiFact, right?
Right. That's what I'm talking about.
They're going to be wrong a lot, no matter which side of the fence you're on. They're going to be wrong a lot
Some people
because
say that about political.
right.
Whatever.
So because they're basically it's false advertising, right? You want to have this range of views, and this is critical thinking. This is what we're trying to teach our kids, right? You're going to have to look at all the sides and see what's the least biased. Let's vet our information here, and hopefully we can find somebody who does this, who actually does vet their information more carefully.
So what I'm hearing is they did that work. I'm also hearing the board saying, yeah, but it doesn't meet our muster, right? So if that's the case, then we need to send them back to the drawing board for another tool, if that's what you guys are saying. I don't know if that's what the committee's saying or not, but suffice to say, I think we had enough conversation.
Carl mentioned it. I would be interested to know if there are the only word that comes to mind is comparable alternatives, because I realize this is a really high standard because of the options it gives, and it may be state of the art, maybe top of the line as far as the flexibility of it, the ability to tailor it, and what it actually does. I don't know. I'm not a specialist.
David, what do you think?
I'm reading the anti-bias measures that are on this sheet here. And if you just read these, you would say they're doing a really good job of making what Lori's talking about. And they're saying We clearly mark as opinion any and all opinion pieces, thought pieces, expert analysis and advice. Very level in all headlines, ensure clarity and prevent confusion among readers. These 7 things listed here tell you, or are supposed to tell you, that they're doing their due diligence on trying to make it like what you're talking about. Okay. I don't know where we go from there.
Well, I think that it's a great sales sheet.
Yeah, I
But-
know.
but,
I understand that.
Maybe look for somebody who actually does that.
That's actually, yeah, this is really, sounds really good. But do they really do it? Right. Okay. But all you can go by is that, right?
We've worked with them. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what they do.
So
Go ahead, Jason.
I'm just gonna try to summarize what I've been hearing. It sounds like you're asking the team and myself to find a comparable resource that is values neutral and as measured by multiple bias check platforms. Is that accurate?
Pretty sums it up pretty much.
Yeah.
yeah.
No,
Asking for the
It's
impossible.
no.
I just need clarity so we can move
So
forward.
if you have a bias check platform, the ones that I've seen, they're pretty bad, right? If you're just gonna believe the experts, you're gonna get yourself into trouble, right? You need to really, you really need to compare things for yourself.
And that's why I said, as measured by multiple bias check platforms. So like
Not
I
the
think about
platforms, the people, right? So there are platforms that are out there that say, oh, we have all the truth here, right? If they say we have all the truth here, they're lying because nobody has all the truth here, right? So if you go from one bias check platform to the other, I don't care what side of the fence you are on, they're going to be somewhat biased, right? I think that we need to look at the whole package, like we just did with this one. Like how, what's their feedback? what are they saying when they write something on the First Amendment in, at another grade level? Did they lose something in translation? Well, yet they did.
What did you
Right.
find, Tulane, on that? What did you find on the First Amendment?
Well, they do right by the Establishment Clause and the Free Exercise Clause for one thing, which would be foundational to the First Amendment. I mean, the way they described it was not at all what that portion of the amendment does. It got better as it got into the other specifics of freedom of speech, freedom of
And
press.
that's the one that's always argued in the courts too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have an example? Do you have that article?
I can find it for you. So
Yeah, send it
I
to-
definitely
Yeah,
will.
that'd be good to see.
How gracious has the news ELA been on the extension of the contract since we're past the deadline?
November 31st will be no more negotiating intervention.
Okay, so we have till the end of this one. And I have use of it between now and then.
So we were forced to make a decision tonight.
No.
Not forced.
Mhm.
So, I mean, if you're saying forced is to keep the tool or not keep the tool.
That's what I mean by forced.
We would
Yeah.
have a lapse in
right.
service.
May I attempt
As long
to
as we make a
summarize?
decision by the 30th.
Well, Thanksgiving's in there and paperwork, but.
No, because you gotta.
Yeah.
Well, I think we ought to make a decision tonight.
May I attempt to summarize again?
Go ahead, Jason.
So, I just want clarity because we're gonna do some work, right? And the work needs to be hitting the marker, right? And so I just want to make sure that, we're really being challenged to find a comparable resource that is values neutral as measured by multiple bias check platforms and individual research of that comparable resource. Is that right?
I think that's fair, but I would prefer that I would like to know if there are comparable options out there before I have to vote on this.
Yeah, yes, right? So we'll do that work. But I just want to make sure you have.
No, I'm not
clarity.
trying to put pressure. I'm just saying to Carl, I would prefer that we don't vote on this tonight.
And so that was my second question is, should Newzella be part of the next conversation, or are we saying no to Newzella so we can then find other resources? Because I think that's part of the clarity that's needed here, for Jackie, Jamie, myself, and for the Newzella rep, right? I could tell him or her something. Up to and including, we're gonna have a lapse, right? I mean, that's an option as well. I just want those folks to have clarity as well. I think we all
I agree. I don't know.
I don't get a vote
She's
here,
not
but
very.
That's right.
sorry, I'm
So what does the committee think? Lori?
I'm a no right now.
Okay.
I want to see if there's anything comparable. I'm not trying to be squishy on this, but
Very good. David?
you know,
Yeah, same as Julian. I'm not totally against it, because like I said, you can't get anything trying to go any bias.
So that's 3-1. So
3-1.
I'm the
Yeah.
same way. So go back to the drawing boards.
following this direction of a comparable resource that's values neutral as measured by multiple bias check platforms and individual research of that resource. Is that right?
Yeah.
Just so we have the clarity.
So,
And when we bring that pool, might be one resource or two or three, I'm hearing that Newzella should not be part of that. Is that true? Or-
well, I think Newzella is still out there until we say affirmatively yes or no.
yeah, I wasn't saying no to Nuzella completely. Just saying, let's check things out.
So if we, I don't know.
My count of the vote was, 3 want more information and 1's a no.
And, okay, so Newzella is in the pool.
Right,
Correct.
for now,
Right.
I-
Yep. Yep. They're in.
Just need clarity, right?
Still there. They're still there.
All right.
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time.
Thanks for your time. What do we got next here?
Thank you.
Thanks, Jason.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, summer building projects. Is that where we take the tour?
That is where we take the tour.
Well, thank you.
That's why we're over here, right? Is that why we're here?
Hey, Jared. I don't know if you can hear me, but we lost your sound.
Okay, how's
There we
that?
go. That's good.
Okay, we're gonna have a little bit of feedback until we move away from the other computer. But we do have Kevin Suko here. We're gonna be going on a tour of this building and look at some of our projects.
And there will be an action item on this that we would need to go forward to the board for resolution. We should bring up approval of entering 2 months of PRA that was shared with the folks under executive contract, or as well as the proposal when we initially brought PRA on as our design partner for our facility management process. The fee for this project is not on that schedule because this is going to be less than what that was. So we work to negotiate a fair percentage. I especially feel that if you look at what that scope and that sliding fee percentage was, 7% or $1 million what that were, I believe is very There's two other projects up here on the second floor that would be really prioritized for grade level reconfiguration. One of those is to take two rooms that are right now, I believe, ELA classrooms, carpeted, no water, and change the flooring to resilient flooring and add add new casework and a sink so that they would have access to water in that room. And then those two rooms would serve as the science classrooms for the 7th or 8th grade. This was discussed with the science, like, what do you need to actually teach a science class? Do you need the exhaust hood? Do you need chem tabs, all this stuff? And they said, really what we need is access to water and a floor that we can get dirt. So I don't know if we need to walk through rooms to see that, but we could show you that. The other one is right now in the back on the, what would be the south wall. You can't, sorry, I pointed, but it's building. There's an area right now where they're kind of resource rooms, where there's a large resource room and then some individual like learning stations, smaller rooms, glass, 2 doors coming into them. Those spaces would be repurposed to become like the admin and student services area for the middle school specific kids. So they wouldn't be coming into the student services with the high school. They would have their own area, and then like a administration area if needed for that class. So we can go through those if you want when we come back up, but I figured I'd front load it because those are the ones that are really aimed towards grade level reconfiguration. The parts that we're going to go look at are more so things that would help us make our operations more efficient today. I feel like a cop on one of those, Facebook videos.
You're still being recorded, sir.
So, in order to make our route as efficient as possible, I think what we're going to do is go down this hallway, touch on a couple rooms, then we're going to come back to the main hallway, and work our way down the west wing to talk about some improvements there. So the first one actually happens right here, but we got to go around the hallway to get there the way that we're planning it. This is the inclusion of one special ed bathroom. Right now, this is our Dean of Students' offices. Notice it's segregated from, or I shouldn't say segregated, it's separated from the main office. So this person has to do some student behavior management, some student assistant tasks that are closely tied to things that happen in the main office, but their area is separated. The reason for that is because it's where we had space. It wasn't like designed to be this way. That actually used to be the school store, which is why it's the only office with an awning in the entire district, I'm pretty sure. But if we come around this way, we can see some rooms right now that are being used for family and consumer ed, and also I think there's one room, it used to be the in-school suspension room. What we're proposing is that some of the special education classes that are being offered down in the West Wing would be moved to this area so that we could give them some more supports, creating a new bathroom. And one of the reasons we chose this space is you see 2 bathrooms right here. We already have plumbing coming to this area. This would be in place that we can add a bathroom behind without having to do a lot of trenching or running a lot more utilities. So what would that bathroom be used for? That would be used for students with special needs that might need help, need assistance with changing, that might need assistance with bathrooming needs and things like that. So one of the things right now, and we'll go down the West Wing, when we go down there, you'll actually see the bathroom that they're using right now. One of the things is that some of our students are just not able to be lifted by our staff because for whatever purpose.
So it would be a bathroom for the special ed students.
It would be a bathroom
Very
for
good.
special ed
Okay.
students.
Very good.
Okay. And one of the things that
that is thought to be kind of advantageous is on this side of the hallway is already our REACH program for students with special needs. So now we'd be bringing down those services and bringing them to an area where they can be in the same space. It might provide for some possibility for duplication of services or sharing of resources. It might not. There may be a reason to keep those two programs completely separate, but it gives us more possibilities, more flexibility in the future. So we're gonna walk through this one. We'll walk into this room. And the only reason I want to do that is it shows, like, you can kind of see where the bathroom space would be. Now I'm looking like a fool. So right now, this is a family and consumer education room. What we're kind of proposing is doing some flip-flopping and taking classes that are CPE focused and taking them and consolidating them down in the green hallway or the west wing and kind of flip-flopping with students or special education classrooms down here. So the area where the bathroom would go would be right back through that door. So we would have accessibility, commonality right off of the classroom. You wouldn't have to go out of the classroom, down the hallway, around the corner to get to that space. And we have the room in that area to make a bathroom that is fully ADA accessible. And we can include, we're actually looking at a ceiling mounted arch oven instead of a Hoyer because it provides a little bit more flexibility when you're in space. Any questions on that part?
So again, the bathroom would be back behind this door.
Right. Well, then with that, we'll head to the main office. That's the next project or next area of work.
Yeah, it's right there, Julie.
Okay.
You want to go in through here or are you going to go? Oh. Lori, you want to grab those lights right over there in the corner? Thank you.
All right. So the way our main office functions right now, we have our health room assistant works out of B102, handling meds for students, and also whenever students come in sick, come in injured, that's the first point of contact for them. Right now, they have that room. And then because it works to have access to a bathroom for some of the stuff that needs to happen there, they also use the bathroom way back there and little foyer area in between. So this person is split between this area and that area. And then if we come around the corner here, and this is really in a back alleyway, so I apologize. Feels so weird. Pulling everybody in like all this. So back here we have kitchenette area that's used by the front main office staff and teachers, support staff, whoever uses the space. And then there's a storage room behind you that I would rather not open the door because it's a storage room and it's very used. What the proposal is to take this storage room and this kitchenette area and blow out this wall or open up this wall and allow this to become one space that would become the health room. That would allow us to have more space for multiple cots in one room instead of having to split them up. We can still use privacy curtains and things like that to give privacy when needed, but allows one person to have more supervision by locality. The other part is we have access to two private bathrooms or two single-use bathrooms right here, as well as out that door, we go right out to the bathrooms. So if students do use the bathroom as part of P&A or something like that, they have different options available to them. The other part that's really nice about this is there's a lot of things that happen in the health room that don't have anything to do with the front office, right, or the main office. The kids just coming down to get their medication that they get every day, or maybe they don't want to be seen by 50 people waiting to see the principal when they come into the health room. This would give a separate door that goes right out to the main hallway, the main corridor, or main hallway corridor. They could come in this way and not have to go through the main office. Now, the nice part.
Question, when you get rid of the storage room, you have a place for all this stuff, right?
We'll have to find a space. I mean,
And not only that, but we're downsizing what's in there. It's going through a good clean out.
that's what I was gonna say. A lot of it might be, what do you call it? It moves, moving by subtracting. So
Everybody needs to do that.
It's a useful.
I'm gonna catch up with it.
activity.
Go.
Sorry.
So then what that would give us the opportunity to do over in this space is, because we're losing the kitchenette area for our staff, while they don't need a 12-foot kitchenette, we would repurpose the space right outside the health room right there and make that into a smaller kitchenette with a sink, microwave, and still some space to store their goods. And then the bathroom back there would become a staff bathroom that they would have access to. And then the other thing might be, well, what will we do with the health room over here? I mentioned before that right now our Dean of Students does not have space inside the main office. We could have that position in here. That also could be a possibility that if we do migrate grades to this area and we would need to bring in administrator for those grades, we would have an office available in the main office where we would be with all the other administrators as well.
Any questions so far before we move on?
Okay. Then the last part, or we'll go down the west wing now, and I shouldn't say last because I'm jumping ahead. Kind of, we talked about some things that we would do in that area. Well, to reciprocate them, we need to do some work down here where those classrooms currently are holding right now and would be moved. The nice thing, like I said, about this, the rooms that we're looking at are already set up to take on a lot of these items. So the work is not, there's not a lot of utility or mechanical renovation that's needed to complete this part of the work.
Mr. Martin, would you please shut the lights off over there in the corner as we're exiting?
I can grab them.
Oh, are you sure? Okay, never mind. We're good. He'll grab them later.
Consider it the west wing, right? Yep. I always called it the green hallway. Now it's the west wing. New terminology.
Yeah, sounds like a TV show.
Yeah, I was gonna say, ring the bell.
So, first off, we're gonna be walking all the way down because, one of the things that has been the biggest concern, since I started here, that we've heard as a concern from the school is in the west wing, there are just no bathrooms. And one of the reasons is to support our special needs students that need to have a bathroom that has the space to accommodate them being assisted. We had to take one of the multi-stall bathrooms and convert it to a single-use bathroom. So we basically took the female bathroom and converted it to single use. That meant that we then had to take the male bathroom and convert that to single use as well. And then we have two single-use bathrooms down here. So where we used to have 6 facilities for students to use, we now have 3, and those are behind doors that students can close and lock to give them privacy, which creates more student management considerations. So that would be these bathrooms right here. And you can kind of see they're labeled as single-use bathrooms now. So what that would mean with this reconfiguration, this would be changed back to the female bathroom. The other bathroom would be changed to the male bathroom. We would again have multi-use bathrooms that would not have locking doors for students to use in this area. And that would be supplanted or replaced with the bathroom that we would add behind the dean's office or Dean of Students office down. Then as we walk back, as we walk back, I'll hit up the room modifications that would happen down here. So, yeah, sorry. Right now, the way that this space is kind of utilized, career tech ed takes up most of this wing. Art, fine art, or call it not fine arts, drawing, 3D, ceramics, that kind of stuff. Digital arts, I think that plays in. That's all up there. But one of the things that we notice is that people utilize a lot of the same space. If I'm doing drawing or I'm doing like digital art, I'm doing stuff on computers, that might be a space that tech ed could use for drawing or drafting or something like that as well. There could be co-uses of space. So what we're proposing to do is to take this room right here, W126, and turn that into a multi-purpose space, outfit it with tables that could be used with computers for that purpose. Right now, this is a PTOT room for students with special needs. That room would move down to that wing. And then Mrs. Timmel and Mrs. Milton, who are special education teachers, they currently work on these two rooms right here. These rooms would then be the FACE and family consumer ed classes that we're moving out down there would move in down here. And the neat part about that is 107C, 107B, 107A are the industrial and residential cooking. So we're bringing those family and consumer ed classes and kind of consolidating them into this area as well.
In between, they have removable or those accordion wall kind of things.
And we can go into any of the rooms and take a peek if you want to.
So these are right now special ed.
Yes.
This and the one back there, yes.
One thing, I guess I will open up this room because I talked about it upstairs and it is one of those things that it's tight to me, so I can tell you about it. Kind of talking about the multi-purposity of rooms. I'm just making up words. You can see in the floor here, we have electric boxes mounted all over the place. And then those round things in the floor are actually like tunnel balls, so that you could run new electrical underneath there if you wanted to. There's already a place. When this room opened, this wasn't drafted yet. So it's been repurposed and we'd be converting it back to something similar to what it was used way back in the day. But the infrastructure is already there. The one thing that we would be doing is adding probably right about where those blue mats are. The room on the other side is the 3D art, which is like ceramics, metals, that kind of thing. We would create a pass through between those classrooms so that if this is being used for art, there's a passageway for teachers to come or to move materials. And then on the other side of that door is actually a lab or a tech ed lab. So folks would have access from this classroom right up to the graphics lab if they wanted to do something there. So the space really makes sense to be used for a multi-purpose space. If we did decide that we needed, or that we were going to migrate classroom or student, we were going to migrate grade levels up here, this would also provide another space for tech ed or art flexibility teaching, that we'd add a classroom for someone to use in that space. So that's kind of the nuts and the bolts of the clean hallway. So I don't know if there's anything more you'd like me to touch on. The last part of it would be then some possible renovations to the music room or the music area. And this is being done kind of the way that we had them price this out for construction. Again, we don't have any solid numbers because we don't have a design, we have nothing fit. But our construction partners have been using their industry resources and industry knowledge of cost per foot pricing, things like that, to take the ideas, the concepts that we're working with PRA on, and then we're putting a price tag to them. So that's kind of how we're getting our information. We asked them to break out these first floor projects, which are, I would say, are more operational efficiency based projects. We asked them to take the second story projects, which would be more grade level migration, and price them out separately. So we have first floor pricing, second floor pricing, and then the two things that we're looking at down in the music hallway
we said, you know, these might be things that we decide to do one of, we might decide to do both, or we might decide to do either. So instead of packaging them together, we're asking for per, like we call them ad alternates, that we can take this room or we cannot take this room or not take that.
Yeah. So in the base pricing, you'll see the stuff on the first floor that mainly impacts just the usefulness of the high school as it is. Then outside of the base pricing, you'll see a bunch of ad alternates. Those are things to consider should we be doing a grade reconfiguration that would help us out, whether that's next year or a year from then or whenever we might choose to do that.
Okay. So we'll go down the north hallway.
Try walking backwards and looking at a screen.
Yeah, when you see it, it makes it, it's a lot better when you see it. Yeah. Physically. Did you go to Lucky Shot Tech?
We had a former custodian, I think he said he put in 15,000.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Just with the cleaning and all the stuff that he was taking care of.
So you went to what, and you got that included?
Yes.
Nice pool.
Yeah.
So before we get into the music hallway down here, I want you to know that Jason Whitaker and I are currently working with the 12 staff to talk about different uses of this area. So these are very, very rough ideas about what we might be doing down this hallway. But in the next 2 or 3 weeks, we're going to start refining those. So I just want to make sure that everybody understands, like, this is probably the least drafted out or discussed area so far.
And honestly, this came up in the conversation when we talked about grade level migration, what might happen. We have a very robust program at the middle school for band and music. We need to find a place for them up here, and we have a pretty robust program up at the high school already. So space is not necessarily just jumping out at us. We talked about, maybe moving a classroom in the green hallway, looking for other spaces, and really to provide the most efficient education where teachers would cover and students would be moving around, it would make sense to have them all in the same area as well. So that kind of shifted our focus to finding areas down here that we could repurpose with a little bit of work. So what we'll see as we go down, there's a choral music room, an orchestra room, and then a band room. In between the band and the orchestra is, they call it the resource room, but that is kind of, I'm trying to think they call it the sound lab. Sound lab. Where it's not necessarily, they're able to sit down at a computer and do some digital design and also do a little bit more learning on instruments. It's probably the coolest classroom in the entire school because it's got guitars right in the wall. So I'm gonna jump ahead. We're very blessed with those in this school.
How many do you have around the building?
Just about, because of the construction, all of our interior classrooms are all secure.
Designated.
So we're very lucky with that. We don't have. So this space is one that's being looked at for moving classrooms or moving the lab or space from the music room over at the middle school right here. It has high ceilings. It has not as big a space. We spaced it up with the choir room at the existing middle school, and it's a little bit shy of where that space was. So we're looking at different options, like could we, behind this wall is a storage area, could we remove this wall and extend it that way? And then we also looked at the old applied technology, science, math center at the end of the hallway. And we really want to take into that because right now it's a storage room for electronic items that are being recycled. So it doesn't look the prettiest. But basically the disadvantage to that space is it was built on after the school. So it's only a 9-foot ceiling, which if you know, I don't know anything about music very much. I'm learning a lot. But that the high ceiling helps music helps the sound travel and makes the space sound better. So we kind of have an option of, you know, how can we utilize that space to maybe take over some of the things that are being provided in this area and allow this space to be transformed into a larger space for band, for choir, for orchestra, or do we keep this room as it is and then look at that space over there and how can we maybe extend the ceiling height or add different things to the room that might make it more acoustically pleasing that would help mitigate some of those deficiencies.
Rooms for individual lessons.
Yep, so I believe right on the other side of this room, there's the orchestra rooms. And then on this side, I think the band ones are actually around the back here.
Yeah, there's some large group and other ones here.
Yeah.
You don't need high ceilings for that.
No. In fact, they
No.
play
It-
against you.
Yeah, and you know, when it comes down to when we're getting ready for state solo ensemble and everything, they use every nook and cranny they can find, right? Throughout different places in the building, really. I mean, you could never build enough practice rooms, I don't think.
So that's kind of the extent of the tour. The only other two things that I did want to bring are, I guess I already brought the ADA ramps up, and that's basically just, we have some sidewalks that have exits to the building that go out onto the sidewalks, and they don't have curb cutouts. Wheelchairs with mobility issues to get out onto the asphalt parking lot. So those are things that we need to replace. Selfishly, from my side, ADA access ramps also make a really great access ramps with plows. So it'd be nice to be able to jump up and off the sidewalks without taking out sidewalk sections of the sidewalk.
And then the other thing is a asphalt surface play area that would go outside of the gymnasium and the sports medicine rooms that we have. I'm directionally challenged, right? That's on the east side of the building where you would walk around to the back to the football field. We would be looking at that area as a place for 7th and 8th graders still get out and do some after lunch recess walking around basketball play area, that kind of stuff. And so we would be looking at using that zone as a place to put something for them.
Is that where the athletic field was?
No,
Was an athletic field?
No, the east side we would have, right now, that's where the handicap parking for football games is, and then there's just a grass area outside it. We'd basically be taking a lot of that grass area, repurposing it, and then redoing the handicap parking area is showing its age. So we would be basically tearing that asphalt up and repouring new asphalt. And so then this multi-surface sport or this multi-purpose play area would then also be used for parking for football games as well for handicaps. So with that, is there anything else I can answer while we're out and about? No. I hope I gave you enough information. I don't want to short you if there's anything that you wanted to
Still make us draw this.
We won't. That's what we have architects for. That's why you hire the architects. Right?
So hard. No, as a draft.
We're very fortunate to the project program that are they offer a bunch of their classes to offer all of those products. So we have site licenses for that product that they can use in the classroom, we're talking.
Yeah, it's very useful, no matter what direction you go.
Never turn around to go up the stairs. Oh, I'm gonna turn around to go up the stairs.
First year, I went to Flatville as a design student. My first year, they taught us mechanical desktop, which was like the isometric.
Yep. Okay.
Nice.
12 was so slow. You could hit the button and like go get a drink of water, come back and it's still working.
Oh, this was, it was still. Yeah. So, but it was really interesting. Because as we were learning mechanical desktop, all the software that we run, that's when we started. That thing, so everything I spent in class, the whole semester learning.
Oh, no. So, when I got to one job, the entire place got 3D. Some of the engineers had never done it. And one of the I'm not sure what, if you just wanted to understand how it works.
Well, I mean, it is still the basis, and when you teach it, it is still the basis. Excuse me.
Top left, right side, you see it.
Thank you for the tour. Well,
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Kevin.
walk around.
I'm glad I invited to go, fitness activity portion.
No, that was interesting too.
That's my.
That's good. Makes sense.
So
Yeah, give a ballpark
is
figure.
there anything that we have to do on this yet?
Yeah.
So yes, there is. There is a contract consideration, PRA, and I'll let you walk through that and ask any questions that you guys need.
My computer died right now, so I don't have it up for
Here,
me,
do you
but
want to get
I
mine?
just about have it memorized, so I feel pretty confident going through it. But so basically it's engaging them in design services for concept, taking us through. We identified what areas we want to do, working with the staff to make sure that the new areas have the amenities that they need or the things that can fit within our budget. Then they would take it through design development, bring in the structural engineer, the civil engineer as necessary. They would put the required touches to it to make it an actual workable drawing. Once we get through that phase, then we would use that drawing set for bidding as well as for permitting and code compliance checks and things like that. That's when it would be handed over to our construction management partner, who would kind of take the construction part and put that into play. But there is some construction administration things that PRA would do as well. They would look at all the pay applications and say, yep, they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. They're charging for the right things. And then we do a walkthrough at different points to make sure that they're constructing it the way it was designed. Then we have our final walkthrough at the end where we do our punch list and closeout. And PRA kind of outlines what they do to support those things in our proposal. What do you want to call it? Estimated cost of projects that they list in there is based off $1 million worth of projects. That is the conservative number that JP Cullen estimated all of the projects that we looked at there. The thing with design is if they are going to put the work into designing them, they need to be paid on it. So even if we decide to not move forward through the construction phase with certain projects, if we have engaged PRA to do the work for that, they need to be paid for that work up front. So that's kind of where we came to that dollar amount. 7% of $1 million is about $70,000 for all the design work. But this isn't a hard bid. line item contract. What would happen is we would wait until we get the GMP for the amount of work to be done, and that 7% would be charged based on that. So this is an agreement that we will pay 7% of whatever that GMP is.
When you say 7%, is it actually the 6.9?
No, so that's
different. Okay.
no, if in the contract, it says 7%. And
Okay.
and the reason for that is if you look at that, it says under $1 million,
Yeah.
the cost is negotiated. Now, that does have an effect. If we were to say we're not comfortable with that, we only want to do $150,000 worth of work, that number would change.
Okay.
So that's why we're saying to draw the line in the sand, what we're engaging them to design on. We are looking at these projects here. And the advantage for that is it would, even if we decide, hey, this summer's not the time to go with this, we're not sure if we're going to do that, we could use that drawing set and engage PRA to do that work within a reasonable amount of time.
So what we're approving, what we're being asked to approve tonight is to agree to 7% of the.
Well, it's the numbers on the document, right? That's what we're asking.
On the,
Like the proposal
36,180.
document, like 36,180, 17,680. Do you want to look?
well, yes and no, I believe those numbers also include the 7. So when JP Cullen did their estimate, they included the 7% in
In
the
those
cost. So that when we look at a cost, it's what we're actually going to pay. It's not you shorted us. So it actually wouldn't be on that full amount. It would be that amount minus 7%.
Okay.
Oh,
If that makes sense. So they're not going to base it off of the cost of the architect's work and then have them add 7% for their work. That work is included in those numbers.
Okay.
And that's kind of how we came to the cost of the work being around $1 million. And that 7% of that would be about 7.
Okay.
Question. Structural and civil is not included in this.
It is.
It is included
Yes,
in this.
that was part of what we worked on because the project, I mean, a large part of the work is the asphalt pad. So we would not be, part of the negotiation was to bring those services into their percentage.
Okay, so that structural and civil is part of the package.
Yes,
That's very good. Okay,
A line item in the contract or in the proposal.
right. Okay. So any questions for Mr. Suko?
I can say this, this is the first time I'm working with, Mr. Stuco on this level of types of things. And I will say, like, his ability to negotiate and thoroughness over the contract is really commendable, really top notch. So thank you.
Yeah.
High five.
Yes, and you're very knowledgeable about all of this. I appreciate that.
Very, very, very good. And I've worked with a number of people. So I do want to say it's a pleasure seeing him so prepared for it.
So do we just need a consensus tonight to move this to the board meeting on?
What I'm gathering is we gotta vote on this and it's gonna cost school district $70,000 to go ahead with this.
To go ahead with the
Go ahead with the
drawing
It
portion.
doesn't need a full board vote. It just needs the fiscal committee.
No, there will be a resolution at next Monday's
So
board.
we're voting to move it to. a
Yeah,
resolution.
you're voting to recommend it to the board for resolution.
That's what I was.
And in looking through the contract, one thing that 70,000 is for the design fee. There is extras in there that are listed, and that's part of the thing that they list what the extras are. Part of those are reproducibles, so they will need to print off drawing sets to take to the city to take stuff. So there is also a cost, an extra cost for reproductions in there. I asked Devin, give me the highest amount you could pull out of your head to make sure that if I say this, I'm not going to come back, look at the board like a dummy. And he said he thought he would not go over $12,000 for that. But that's not part of the contract. That is billed as they create them. So if we don't utilize services or we're able to do things digitally or do them in a different way, however that works, we can save some of those costs.
So this is a not to exceed for the work that they're proposing here.
It'd be $82,000 at the most.
This is
Right.
Well,
It's 7% of work.
7% of whatever the GMP is.
Right.
And we are working off a budget of $1 million.
Right. Is there any other discussion?
I want to know what you think.
Sure.
What I think?
Yeah.
Yeah, me?
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Are you prepared for the pushback from members of the community that may say, okay, you're going forward with the referendum, but you don't, and you're gonna spend $1 million on changes of this building, that we have a budgetary issue right now. Do you know, I don't know how to phrase this. Are you
I
prepared?
think I know where you're getting at.
Yeah.
But what we're getting out of it is at least we're getting some drawings.
Yeah,
Well, and the other part of it too is the district has built in, into their, I forget what fund it is.
Fund
46.
Fund
Thank you.
46. Those dollars for which were intended for capital improvement projects within the district.
and that's things just like this. The other thing, that we do get is we do get some preparedness for future ready, should we think about or need to, because of budgetary purposes, have to restructure.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's just being mindful of what that looks like. That work doesn't have to be done, but if it does need to be done, we would have the drawings and we would be ready to go and do it whenever you as a board would see or deem that needs to be done. Right. And so it's always good to have that preparedness. And that's what we're paying for, right? Is to make sure that we're looking at things that need to be done, need to produce flow and better structures for our students here at the high school as is. And we're also preparing for what may be our future or what may not be our future, but at least we have plans in place should we need them. And I think that's being very responsible.
Well, and I do think it's important that we remember that because we will be questioned about this. And I think the fact that we have this Fund 46 that has money in it is a really.
Personally, I'd rather be questioned about this than given bonuses. True.
Yeah,
Because there's a little reward in this. I mean, $82,000 for a set of plans is quite hefty, but it's something that we could base future uses on.
But it also seems like it's making things more efficient as is. If you don't change, where.
Especially the bathrooms.
Yes.
Yeah, it makes it much more efficient for the teachers and the paras and the students. So there's value in there.
And if by chance you go ahead and bring the 7th and 8th grade here, you're all set, right?
It will go a long way to help, right?
Yes.
So Kevin, when we get these plans and you look at them and Jared looks at them and other people look at them and we look at them and and sometimes when you deal with people who are doing this type of work, they have an X number out there that you can make changes, number of times that you can make changes. If you look at them and you see, okay, we need to change this, this, and this, are there extra costs for those changes on the drawings or is that part of the package?
Up to the phase, up through the concept phase and into a certain part of the drawing design phase, there's no cost. That's part of the work that provides our concepts and working with our staff to come up with what the final part is. Once we reach a point where we say, this is the design set, this is what we're moving forward with. After that point, there could be change orders to construction. And so as part of the budgeting that we've asked Cullen to do, they've held some contingency dollars in there to say, they're going to hold 10% for a construction contingency because this is a remodel job. It's not a greenfield site. They might open the walls and find out that where a beam was told to be, it's 6 feet over. We can't go around and open up every wall to find out where every beam is. So they carry a decent amount of contingency for that. They would also carry, or they also have figured in there, 15% for soft costs, which would include a design contingency as well.
Okay.
So if there were change orders or anything like that that came up, we would have a small amount of money to deal with that. And that is all the costing that goes into that is listed out in the proposal as well per hour.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Put it to a vote. David,
Yes.
Lori,
Yes.
Julia,
Yes.
Carl, yes. We're ready to go, and we'll move that to the agenda for Monday night, right?
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sue.
Thank you, Kevin.
All right, what's next year?
Next up, we have a budget referendum, planning. I just thought it would be prudent for us to go through our documentation around that, and I want to make sure that I share the right screen. So I'm going to stop sharing on this screen for just a second and move it to the correct document for those at home who are coming in. Those of you who are in the room on the big screen, you can see that if we're going through our timetable here, we are well towards where we need to be when we're looking at mailings went out. I'm looking at October 24th, school perception emails, survey to staff. We've done that. The week of October 29th and 30th, survey lands in mailboxes. It was just starting to land in mailboxes. Remember there was a plan for 3 weeks of printing and USP bulk mailing process to happen. So that happened in shifts to different neighborhoods. All the neighborhoods that we know of have been, it has landed to. And so we're starting to get back information. Earlier today, we were at almost 1,000 returns already. We're well over the company minimum of 500 returns to give us a result. And they're hoping for anywhere between 2,500 and 3,000 returns. We're sending out some reminders again this week and doing some reposting on our media sites to do those reminders, as well as some email reminders out. I have also been going to different staff meetings and reminding staff, if they haven't taken it yet, to please take it. We're working through those processes. On November 17th, that's the survey deadline. What we're doing is we're asking the public to have at least scanned and done that on the 17th or mailed it back. We do know that there are some people who 17th is going to come and go, and it's going to go to the 20th, 21st, 22nd. Go ahead, mail it back. They will continue to add the results. As they come in. Certainly, it's going to be another week process for them to pull those results together. They have a planning meeting on the week of December 1st. Matter of fact, it's on December 1st to do an initial review of those results with us as administration earlier in the day. Either December 1st in the evening or on the 4th, Lynn sent you an email. Those are the dates that they have available to go over those results with us. And that would happen at that time. If I can scroll down for just a little bit here in this, and I'll do it both places. I'll do it here for the public. It's not going to be that way. And then I'll scroll down over here on the document on the screen. You can see that that's April 7th. If referendum is pursued, that would be April 7th. But what I need you to look at is that week of December 15th. December 15th, the board would approve resolutions. So between the 1st or the 4th and the 17th, or excuse me, the 15th, I will be working with Quarles and Brady to draft a resolution for you to have reviewed. I'm hoping that I might even get that before the next fiscal meeting, which is on, was it the 10th?
It's early.
What's it? I think it's the 10th. But if I don't, certainly by December 15th, they promised us that they could have that turnaround. They've got template made for us already. They have seen our survey. They know kind of the different areas. And they hope it would just be a plug and play turnaround for them based off of your reaction to whatever we get back from the survey. Should we need to go out for referendum? Want to also remind you that if the surveys come back and the recommendation is not to go out to referendum, that would be another discussion point for us to talk about, right? But it is a possibility. We get an answer on there that says I'm not interested, right? And then tell us more and why. And so we're just going to have some patience of waiting here. And as you see people in the community, keep reminding them we're active at the survey right now, and we would like as many of those turned in as possible. We currently have, I think, over 50 individuals who have asked for an additional survey.
So, the apartments, as of yesterday, I've not heard anybody in an apartment who got a survey.
There's a lot of different apartments.
Yeah.
Can you tell me what apartment specifically, or every apartment in town?
I have not heard anyone who lives in an apartment who's gotten a survey so far.
Okay,
So,
they should have gone to all of our addresses, all like, so whether you
I'm
live in
guessing
an
that's a
apartment or
post
not.
office thing. Yeah, maybe they're the last two.
I don't know, and we can continue to check in and do that, but we have confirmation from school perceptions that they've done their part to get it into the mail. Right now, if there is reports of people not getting them, if we can hear specifically those addresses and everything else, then we can check in with our local post office to see what may have happened. If you can remember last year's referendum, there were two routes we believe that really we don't know what happened. We came in with different addresses of people who said they had not received them, and we've kind of identified two different routes. We don't know what happened to those, but we do have some concern, and we're keeping an eye on and looking at, are they going to get out there?
Geez, the U.S. Postal Service, I'm really surprised.
Let's be nice neighbors. Let's be nice neighbors, Carl.
See some sarcasm there.
All right.
I've had problems with the U.S. Postal Service.
So anyway, I just wanted to go over that. That's all I have for this agenda item. Are there any questions about where we are or where we're going as an update to that?
All right. Monthly
Jared, we can't hear anything.
My apologies, everyone, if you couldn't hear us there. We're going over a couple of questions over the bills, credit cards, and other discussion points.
Yeah, 16th, do they pay the US bank out of, by using another credit card to pay them? That's what I'm assuming out of there.
I would, Stacy, would you know what that charge
I was
is?
curious about that.
No, I'm not sure exactly what you're looking at, Carl, but the US Bank,
Stacy, we can't hear you. Let me see if you're.
can you hear me now?
10-8. 16, 10, 10.
Yeah, 10-8.
Can you hear me now?
I'm almost sure that's what they do.
Stacy, we still can't hear you.
I'm not muted.
So we're just putting it in another tab.
It's the same
Right.
number.
Every month.
16,000, well, if you look at the US Bank, listing there, 16,119.34. That's paid with the other credit card.
I think that's what they're doing. They're paying.
Yes.
No,
Yeah, right.
Stacy, we can't hear you. So if you
I'm
have the
not
ability
muted.
to maybe send me a text on my phone, I can certainly share that. I'm trying to figure out why
It's the same amount as
We
what
can't hear you.
that itemized
you don't
US.
look
I'm
muted on
not
our end.
muted, period.
Yeah, I
It's the
think,
same amount as the other document we
US
just looked at.
Okay.
the US Bank.
and I think that has to do with Amazon Capital One too, right?
Yeah.
Move the money.
They
Yeah,
just
okay,
moved.
that's just the
One paying the
movement
other,
of,
I'm
movement of
assuming.
funds. All right, very good.
We are not paying one
Let's,
credit card with
has
another.
anybody else got any questions on that? Okay, let's move on then to, I think it's fund. What is it, Fund 27?
7.
Fund 10 is
27.
first, Carl.
Huh?
The variance reports.
The one that's sideways.
Okay.
Oh, Fund 10. Let's go to Fund 10 variance.
It looks like everybody but us can hear Stacy, so I don't know. I got.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Kevin, can you still hear me?
Now we can hear you in the room. Thank you. Sorry.
Okay. That's okay. So you get one credit card report that shows the total for the month. And one of the lines on there says US Bank.
Yeah.
I don't have the reports in front of me, so I can't see the totals.
They match.
They match, yeah.
So, and then the second report, I think it was Blaine on that. So we have vendors set up in Skyward, but we don't have every single vendor that we ever pay with a credit card set up in Skyward. So those all fall under the US Bank line. And then that secondary report shows the detail of those miscellaneous. But we're not paying
Following you.
another credit card or
We
anything.
follow you.
Full amount of the US Bank credit card bill comes out of our checking account automatically.
Yeah.
Very good. All right, let's go to the general fund, revenues. Any questions on revenues? Then we'll go to general fund expenses. Any questions on expenses?
Now I can't hear you.
What's that, Stacy? Quinn's giving me a thumbs down.
Now I can hear you, Jared.
Now we
You can hear me? I
Yep.
don't know what's going on. Our sound keeps going in and out, and I'm not even touching the thing, so I'm sorry. Now Kevin's giving us a thumbs.
Okay, any other questions on fund 10 expenses?
Oh, that's a question I ask almost every month. Are there anything in that surprised anyone? I'm looking at the fund year to date. I mean, FYD, I think that's what that means, right? Fund year to
Right,
date.
yeah, right.
And the fund year to date percentage, and it looks to me like things are in line, but okay, thank you.
All right, what about Fund 27? Let's go to Fund 27. Are there any questions there? After I get this thing turned around, right? There. Special education fund revenues. Any questions there?
We spend what we bring in, right? I mean, that's just how that goes.
We spend more than we bring in, and then we do a Fund 10 transfer to 27.
Any other questions? All right, let's go to the final one. Gonna have to excuse me
The
here for a
Amazon?
second.
Everybody's favorite.
Yeah,
Always the fun one.
that's always fun.
Amazon. Anybody's got any questions on that one? You talk about nickel and diamond.
Well, I think this is driven by the building budgets and things come up and isn't that generally what happens, Jared? Things come up in a building and teachers need such and such, and so it gets ordered. So like at Prime, it comes fast, and
I was surprised at the number of books that were ordered.
I'm assuming those are for libraries, right?
I don't know. It doesn't
I
say.
don't think the Blood on the River, because they got 100 copies, I would guess that maybe that had something.
Yeah.
Well, I think that might have something to do with the Veterans Day events that have been going on all over the district. That's just an assumption I'm making. You know, teachers might have passed that book out as like reading material for the month prior to all the assemblies.
And I'm not sure if everyone's aware or not, but that Amazon report is the one report where we're not able to weed out the Fund 21 purchases. So you may be seeing things in there that are for FFA or Skills USA or prom or any of those activity type of things. We don't have a way to weed those out.
But do we
Can
know?
you tell me why?
It's just because those account codes aren't stored in Amazon system. So that count codes
Amazon.
don't come in until after it gets into our system, so we don't have.
Right, they come after the fact.
All right, Greg, go ahead.
But if you have questions on any of those expenses, we can tell you where they were charged.
Is there at all a possibility to have Watertown Unified School District Amazon Fund 10 account, an Amazon Fund 21 account, and an Amazon Fund 27 account? Like to have 3 separate Amazon accounts that that correspond to how those particular funds are being spent.
That would rely on teachers logging into the correct account, depending on, what account they were going to use to that it's already messy enough as it is. I don't know how that would.
I think that would really.
Well, and you'd have to have 3 separate Prime accounts, so now you're paying for
Yeah.
shipping 3 times. You wouldn't want to go there.
Right, and if you're using an Amazon credit card, I don't know if you are or not, but if you are, then you'd have to have 3 different cards most likely attached to each different fund.
What you could do, though, is if you know when you're purchasing. No, never mind. 'Cause
Well, we
it's
do
gonna
have
to run.
some of the
Go ahead,
folks.
Stacey.
Some of the folks do put the account code in as a PO number when they place their order, but there's no
That
way
would be perfect.
there's no way to run reports off of the PO number field.
But,
I mean,
but, but could you add the field to the report so at least it comes out in the report?
I think I got, instead of us trying to thought this together, I think we're getting what you guys are looking at. You said, how can we at this stage in the game see that? Because, we reconcile it after, right? But you don't see it when you're doing approval. What account is it coming out?
Right.
You're saying, is there a way that we can find a way to try to get it to you so it's at this stage of the game, not later on?
It's a wouldn't it be nice kind of thing. It's not absolutely essential, I don't think.
Well, we can add it to our business office task list and we'll, I know you're saying not high priority, but we'll look into it.
A reconciliation sheet.
Sure.
Previously, all the Amazon reports listed the department that purchased those or the school that purchased those. This one is not printed out that way. Is this going to be the new presentation? I understand we're in a transition, so no, I'm just wondering.
I would have to ask
Previously, it would
about that.
show at the very least, it would show like what department purchased it. Like if you went to purchase something for your office, or if
Sure.
a special ed was making the purchase, or if it was maintenance making the purchase for something, it showed what department was purchasing those products or what school.
Right.
But then you got almost no level of detail. This is nice.
They had it before.
No, they had all of this before, but they had in the front what department was making that
Or what
purchase.
So
school?
Lori's right, they truncated the description
Yes, they did.
Yes.
to get that.
Yeah, you got almost nothing. And now you actually know what they purchased.
Right.
Right.
Well, you know what? We'll keep looking. I mean, just we'll look at it. I mean, I know what you guys are trying to strive for, and we can try to keep looking at, is there better ways to do it? And I will use Tammy's words, our transparency at which we do things in the school district comparative to others is amazing.
Yes,
And we will continue. Yes, we will continue to try to meet that high bar that you're setting, and we'll try to think about ways that we can do that. But
Yeah, I know when I use the
but
card,
I don't think that this is the form to do. Thinking it through at a fiscal committee is probably not a great idea. But yeah.
Okay. Does that wrap that up? Any questions? Let's go forward here. Let's see here. What's next on the agenda?
Well, we got future agenda planning.
Future agenda planning. All right. Anything for future agenda planning?
Let me get back into my.
I was not raising my hand.
Oh,
So I think one of the things that we certainly need for future agenda planning is one thing around the the survey is, you know, whether or not we would be prepared for a resolution for that fiscal meeting, just before the 15th. I don't know if we will, but I want to put it on as a possible future agenda item just in case.
Very good.
That we're there. Another thing that we will be looking at is looking for a GMP to do the work. Should we transition from the drawings into work? We would want to start getting somebody on board so we can go from drawings to bidding. And you would need to review that next month. So.
Any objections? So be it. Okay.
Anything else that you guys can think of that you might want fiscal? And then what I will do is I will sit with Stacy and go through basically the annual calendar of things that is through the business office. I'm just not prepared to do that right now tonight, but if there is anything else, we'll just put it on and I'll talk with you, Carl, about here's the next things up that are usually in December.
Any questions? Action items? Any action items?
Yeah, so we had a couple action items that I have. One is that Jason Bull and team will do further work on Newsella and Newsella alternatives. I don't know if it's Newsella, it's News ELA, I think is how it's really stated. We also have action item to take the contract for PRA and forward it on for resolution at the board meeting. Also be prepared for and look towards a school perceptions review. So administratively, we'll get that ready for either the 1st or the 4th. Those are the 3 things I have.
Anybody got anything else? I guess
I think that was the
For me.
only action item.
Pardon?
I think those were the only action items
Okay.
from the meeting.
All right.
Okay, well, next meeting date is Wednesday, December 10th.
Right.
So-
That'll be at 5:30 at ELC. At the,
Yep.
okay, very good. Well, we got a motion for adjournment.
Sure. No, go ahead, give it to Lori.
Don't be that way, Julie.
I'll be happy to, be happy to second.
Moved by Lori and second by Julian. All in favor?
I.
Aye. Opposed? No.
On again, off.
Thank you. Oh, it is
7:43.
7:43. Very good.
I got quite a bit done in that. I'm done.
Special thank you, Julian.
We did.
Julene.
Good.
Carl.
Julene.
Oh, Julian, she knows who I'm talking to.
I think she needs another day.
Okay, I'm gonna end the meeting for everybody.
You could have a boring name like problems they had with that. And he works with the school district in his different towns that he works in. He said, oh my goodness, he said, they all have the same problem. It's not just us.
Is that right?
Yeah.
And by the way,
No
Yeah.
kid.
something clean up.
Thing or just
ALA.
He said it's a software.
Yeah, but we probably have Friday,